You've got a gun, you've got a big gun, you've got a gun, it's not a real one, and all you ever think about is running away, all you ever think about is trying to stay away from me.
And welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to another episode of the Not Safe for Work MMA show. This, of course, resides on the LoudMouth MMA Podcast Network. Please check out the rest of the network. We got some awesome shows, but this is a very unique show. So just a reminder, I feel like I should do this every episode, but I'll do it again. It's called the Not Safe for Work MMA show, and it is just that. It is not safe for work. We will be cussing. We will be fighter bashing. We will be just saying whatever we want to say. None of this is thought of beforehand. I don't know if I've ever come down here with thoughts of what I'm going to say. I think it's just off the brain, and sometimes when it's off the brain, you might say some dumb shit, and it just kind of is what it is. So just keep that in mind. Also, don't, please, for the love of God, if you don't like this show, I get it. I'm cool with that. But don't then bash other people on the network, because they got nothing to do with this at all. In fact, one in particular might not really want us to do this every week. but listen, this is not a reflection of anybody else that's on the network. We also have been linked up with SureDog. This, of course, is no reflection of what SureDog does and represents. So I just wanted to get that out of the way. I need to do that every couple of episodes. Just do a lengthy little disclaimer. I love the show. I love it. I love doing this. This is my favorite show. If I was a fan, I would be listening to this. This is, and I think that's what you want in art, right? You want to create art that you yourself would enjoy if you weren't involved in it. So for me, this is right up my alley. This would be the show that I would be seeking out if I was, not doing it.
Listen, I'm going to be honest with you. That's the best compliment. I'm hard as a rock when you give that fucking, when you're giving your little fucking, I fucking love it. Let y'all know Daddy Fred's about to come on here and spit in your fucking ear holes. If you want that classic fucking X and O bullshit, go find some other fucking, find another great podcast on this station, but this ain't the one.
Yep. All right. Disclaimer out of the way. Fred, you just heard the voice, the man, the myth, the legend, Mr. Frederick James Kirby III.
Mr. Kyle, listen, we got a lot of shit to get to. We had a card last night, and okay, we'll go ahead. Take it away.
What percentage of the show are we going to, if we're breaking the show up, right? 1%, is basically a minute, right? Because it's not 100 minutes. I guess 1% is more, a little, but you know what I'm saying.
Right.
You know what I'm saying.
1 to 100.
What percentage do we want to dedicate to talking about Holly Holm's next title fight? What percentage are we going to dedicate to that?
I mean,
is that 50%?
No, not for Daddy Fred. I ain't got a whole lot to it. Do you want to start there, or do we want to start with the card overall? Because you know what? Listen, to be fair,
we could do a card overall.
The card overall was not bad. The prelims were actually quite good. These cards kind of fucking get on my nerves because it's like the few fights that I was actually looking forward to ended up fucking shit in the bed for me. The Julia Pena fight and GDR was pretty good just because fucking GDR pulled off the Hail Mary fucking submission at the end. But other than that, it was fucking Julia Pena pushing her up against the cage, getting the takedown. It was fucking tedious, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then those two fat pieces of shit in the co-main event. I'm sorry if you like those gentlemen, but I am fucking so sick and tired of UFC/MMA heavyweights just having to be fucking Butterbean. You realize in boxing, Butterbean was an anomaly. He was a fucking joke. He was pretty good, but we all laughed at him and shit. Like, he stood out because he was a fat piece of shit. We have 32 of those guys on the UFC's heavyweight roster, and we call these motherfuckers elite fighters. Now, listen, I'm sure they could whip my ass and most bouncers around the country, but the UFC is supposed to be the motherfucking proving ground of the greatest fighters on earth.
It's creme de la creme.
It's the Kumite. That's how you pronounce it, right? The Kumite? Yeah, in Bloodsport. Jesus fucking Christ.
Kumite.
Yeah.
Kumite, absolutely.
You see what the fuck was the prick's name with the long ponytail? The big fucking Asian prick that was whipping on Jean-Claude Van Damme? Oh. Whoever the fuck he was, he didn't have a fucking belly on him. There was no fat tubs of shit at the Kumite. I mean, we see this all the time. And again, like all bullshit aside, what's up with the UFC's heavyweight division?
It's just MMA.
That's the thing. Here's a real question. Here's what, and I'm going to pose this for several divisions in the UFC because of last night's events. We'll start at heavyweight, co-main event.
Why was that a co-main?
Listen, you have 100 cards in 100 days. You got to do what you got to do.
Well, it's not. But why not put like Carlos Condit there? That would make more sense than that fight.
I guess. I think maybe they had a little more.
I'm not saying that's great. I'm just with the options that you were given.
Carlos Condit.
Why would that not be?
Carlos Condit's been in a skid for a long time. He very well could have laid the egg too. Hindsight's 20/20.
Well, but it's not even. I'm not even going off of. I get what you're saying. That's not the angle I was taking. Okay. I wasn't taking that it was a good, because it was a very good fight, but that's not even the angle I was going.
Just name value.
There's no other, like, when you looked at the card and you're like, okay, first of all, there wasn't a main event when you're looking at the card. There's not even a main event.
Right.
But if you're going to have a main event, okay, sure, Holly Holm, there you go. But you're then going, okay, well, there's definitely not a co-main, because there's 3 fights that are co-mains. There is no main, right? So if we're putting Holly Holm at main,
yep.
Why that fight? Why is that the one that ends up being the of all fights?
Maybe on paper they thought the heavyweights would come out and bang, and you'd get you a big, exciting knockout.
So that's the piece that I want to talk about, which is why are we continuing to go with this narrative that it's like we're stunting the heavyweight division because we don't take it seriously. We just assume, okay, it's bigger guys, maybe they'll knock each other out. That makes it more interesting. Therefore, we'll give this fight more credit than it deserves because we think that since they're bigger, they're going to knock each other out. The problem is, if they don't do that, those heavyweight fights fucking suck. Well, almost every time.
That's the money right there. You just hit it. It's a gamble. Like, you either do get that big, exciting knockout from a huge man knocking some other dude out, or you don't really fucking get just a good back and forth fight. Usually,
but I would say you have, and this is, I don't know if you're going to agree with this, but like, if you're asking me what division I would be more interested in as far as watching fighters fight, especially lower level people in that division, I would much rather watch men's bantamweight than I would want to watch heavyweight. Because the men's bantamweight, first of all, you still have finishes, but the fights are, generally speaking, from beginning to end, are going to be a lot more exciting to watch. There's going to be much more of a back and forth. You're going to see a lot more punches thrown.
Overall, yes. But I think the issue is the lack of depth at heavyweight. See, bantamweight...
And it's just everywhere. It's everywhere.
Yeah, right. You mean not just the UFC?
Yeah, it's not just the UFC.
Sure. The whole fucking division.
And you made a good point about boxing. I'm not a boxing fan, but I know enough about boxing, and I can think of enough off the top of my head heavyweight fighters, and this isn't how they look.
No, right. And real talk, like, not to be a dick. And I'm sure you can pull out some pudgier heavyweight boxers. But, yes, in general... I mean, you listen, Tyson Fury's a little flabby, but he's been getting in good shape.
I'm
Deontay
saying
Wilder, Anthony Joshua. I mean, you name any of these sort of guys,
The irony, ladies and gentlemen, is not lost on me. Let me just get this out of the way in case people are thinking it and then not taking what we're saying serious. So let me just get this out of the way. I am an obese man. The irony is not lost on me.
No. But
I'm not an athlete.
Yeah, but yeah, it's not ironic.
I'm barely good at disc golf, which is the least athletic sport.
You're a fucking podcaster and you sell houses.
Yes,
of course you're pudgy. You should be. Yeah. You know what that means? That means you're living a good fucking life. That means you eat good at night. What the fuck? You're not training to be a fucking fighter, for fuck's sake.
So,
I mean,
so none of this is because I know that people are doing this, and I'm fucking talking to you. If you think I'm talking to you, I'm talking to you. So don't fucking do it. Neither one of us are saying we can fight these people, or that we should fight these people, or that we can fight these people. This isn't a keyboard warrior thing. It's also, again, those guys at heavyweight are taller than me and fucking leaner. The guys who I'm calling fat, they're taller and leaner. So that's not what's happening here. So I want people to actually take what we're saying serious and not just because it's, I get it. I get it. It's human fucking nature. You start listening to people talking shit about fighters and you start going, oh, you fucking couldn't. I get it. Just stop. Just stop doing it and actually listen to what we're saying.
Yeah.
Continue, Fred.
No, listen to what I'm saying. Suck my dick. I never said I could whip it. Like, I come here to podcast. I like to talk. I realize, motherfucking, a couple of those broads that were fighting last night whipped my ass. And I'm not exaggerating. Like, I'm under no illusion that I could, but I'm not supposed to.
Right.
I'm not training. I don't want to. I'm hoping to blow up talking, not fighting. That's a well-known fact. All of these ladies and gentlemen that step into the octagon are saying that, at least metaphorically saying, they want to or think they are the best fighter on planet Earth.
Sure.
I ain't even in a Brazilian jiu-jitsu gym locally, Jack. Like,
Yeah.
I'm under no, but that's a moot argument because I'm not saying I am. That's like, when athletes or musicians get mad when somebody criticizes their work. Motherfucker, I don't rap. It don't mean that I can't have an opinion about your album.
I saw it with Brett Okamoto, and it is interesting. That's a really good point. I'm gonna finish up that point in a second. But I saw it with Brett Okamoto, and I think it was last week where whatever fight kicked off the card was just really bad. It was just a really bad fight.
Sure.
And Brett Okamoto posted like, "Let's pretend like that fight didn't happen. The first fight of your card is next," and something along those lines.
Okay.
I don't remember what he said, but it was something along those lines. Cutesy little that fight sucked without saying that fight sucked, right?
Sure.
And just everybody responding. Oh, let's see you get in there.
Right.
Let's see you do it. Let's see you hang. Whatever. It's like, come on, guys. And the other, to your point, the same people who are making those arguments are the same people that'll get on fucking Yelp and say that their fucking diner experience sucked.
Right.
Those are the same guys that will get on and be like the newest Star Wars movie, Blue Dick. Right. You fucking make a Star Wars movie, motherfucker.
Well, right.
You know what I mean?
Right,
like, you fucking cook that food at the diner. You wouldn't do shit. Go fucking, that's why you're there. Because you can't cook. If you could cook, you wouldn't be at that fucking diner.
But to be fair also, that's why you guys are in the UFC and you're stars and you're celebrities and you guys get paid money and, fucking Jorge Masvidal or Conor McGregor or Nate Diaz or any of those fucking people should never really bitch if a little shitbird like me wants to talk shit. Bro, you're in a Ferrari in Miami. You get paid well for motherfuckers to criticize your work and what you do or don't do. You know what I mean?
That's what I liked about Chael. Chael had a really good quote when he was talking about if he felt like a weight had been lifted off his shoulders coming back from the USADA suspension, and he was just like, I don't get to complain about that stuff because I get paid well,
right,
more than I deserve, and whatever. And he goes into this little tirade thing about just how it's just so goofy that these people are complaining about stuff while they're having bodyguards around him. It's just like, what are you doing? What are you talking about?
Yeah.
You
put yourself into the spotlight. Don't. And that's why I was making the music reference. There's a bunch of, I'm a big fan of the Joe Budden podcast, a music, urban music podcast, for all of you that might not know. But he talks shit about certain albums. He doesn't.
I would
like
guess that our listenership is mostly European.
Okay, well, yeah, so you probably have no fucking idea, but maybe you do. Anyways, it's basically like a rap, hip hop music podcast. So sometimes an album comes out and he's like, "Yo, this fucking album's trash," and then the person doesn't like him in real life. It's like now when they see him at events, it's like, "Yo, what's up? You didn't like the last album, motherfucker?" And it's like, no. You're still an all right guy, but it's like if a fighter has a bad performance, bro, can we not say that performance was bad or that you did a little lay and pray and a little wall install? I mean, what do you want from me, man? Like, It doesn't mean that you're not a great guy. It just means that Neil Magny. No, I hate Neil Magny. I'm sure Neil Magny. I am quite positive he is a good dude. He's an Army guy. Seems like a real upstanding citizen, a real solid man. And on that level, I respect and all the admiration. And quite frankly, he's not the worst fighter in the world. I just like being a dick.
I know, with you.
He had a couple fights that I didn't like, and so now that's the thing about being a fan of the sport. I'm going to hold it against Neil Magny forever. Every time he fights, I'm going to give him shit. But at the end of the day, I'm not. I'm sure he's a great guy. This is what we do. It's the sport, man. We show up and we talk shit and we have fun.
So continue the narrative with heavyweights.
Okay, yes. So my narrative with the heavyweights was just this: watching those two shitbirds fight last night, and just thinking of the overall fucking depth at heavyweight for the last fucking, I don't know, maybe since its goddamn inception in fucking MMA, but at least for the last few years. Overall, pound for pound, are we maybe overrating Stipe a bit and heavyweight champions in general because they're just working in such a shitbird pool? And I'm going to extend that argument now with us having no discussion of the heavyweights straight to women's bantamweight. And now I know a whole bunch of y'all panties about to get wet because that's right. I'm coming for your women goat, Amanda Nunes. Is she that great of a fighter? Or has she – look, y'all real quick to throw Ronda under the bus and be like, oh, well, she just got lucky. She had a bunch of girls that didn't know how to defend the armbar, blah, blah, blah. Amanda Nunes, to be fair, isn't exactly Anderson Silva in his prime.
Yeah.
She's not exactly Damian Maia. She's not exactly Daniel Cormier wrestling. She's sort of a brawler who can strike relatively well, who has some knowledge on the ground. Let me ask you this, Jack. If Amanda Nunes was a man, would she be the fucking destroying champion that she is, or would she be a fucking a contender?
Like say at the same weight class
with those skills,
with the skill set? No, she would be.
She'd be a contender, maybe.
But that's
she's
kinda,
top 10 guy, but she's not like fucking the. I guess I'm just saying the.
We kind of hit that last time, right? Which is like because of how late in the game women's MMA is and was, or however you would put that.
Right.
You don't have you have this massive separation
in talent,
right? Because you have people that are just really either they're specialists like a Mackenzie Dern, so
right.
she's just out of all women, she's just excels in this area beyond everybody, mm-hmm. right? And eventually, again, give it another 5, maybe 10 years, but at least 5 years, and the gap starts getting much, much more closed. So I do think Nunes is very much so. I agree with you 100%. Is benefiting from just it hasn't been around long enough for there to be women who are as well-rounded as she is.
So now 2 questions to piggyback off that. A, does that same argument extend to men's heavyweight?
Problem is, men's heavyweight's been around.
I know, but it's still low-key abysmal.
I think we don't. The guys who are that big, and I think I've made this point before.
I know we don't really get the talent in the sport, but take away from that fact, on that, like, never mind the why.
Okay,
is the result the same though?
Yes.
Right. So now
it's a very different reason why, but yes.
Right. Exactly. So without all the interpretation between now, the second question being, does that take away from their overall GOAT conversation? Like when you're talking about guys like Izzy and Habib, who are in, obviously a lot more talent-rich divisions, should we give that a lot more credence when having that conversation?
I think we do, because I think when we're talking about pound for pound, we don't.
Well, I don't know. The Izzy's not above fucking Amanda Nunes or Stipe Izzy in pound for pound debate.
Well, Nunes is. But I can't do the pound for pounds with women and men because it's two entirely different conversations.
Okay, fair enough.
So as far as men are concerned, I would just say Izzy needs to be around a little bit longer. But I think if he puts on another good performance,
like you put him
against just about anybody, then yeah, I think he automatically goes above him.
Okay, I definitely think that just quality of opposition is important.
Yeah,
and I think maybe that gets a little.
Do we want to talk about can I give my reason of why? Because I don't know. We have new listeners and shit.
Okay,
so I like to test this idea out because I believe in it. It's probably one of the few hard opinions I have that I actually have said over and over again, and I believe it.
Okay,
with women that just haven't been around long enough. So there's this massive separation when a woman is just either really well-rounded or an extreme specialty, right? Like Dern or like Ronda Rousey or something, right? Or even Shevchenko to a certain degree, again, being well-rounded.
Or just being very fucking good.
Yes. So there's just this massive separation because the number 1 woman versus the number 8 woman is just, it's huge.
Right,
I mean, it's a fucking canyon.
Right.
Where at 55, that just isn't the case.
Yeah, it's actually a competitive fight.
Yeah, you know what I mean?
You could even maybe do that with welterweight and possibly middleweight, too, where it's at least competitive.
There's not this massive separation between 1 and 8.
Right.
And women's, I mean, good Lord, you might as well be in a different fucking, not even in the UFC.
It's almost like a fight that shouldn't even be sanctioned.
Yeah. So... And that will change. This is just my opinion on what I'm seeing now. Mm-hmm. This isn't like an indication against women. It's just that's where we are. It hasn't been around long enough. We haven't developed the sport enough as it relates to women.
Okay.
So this is where we are now. So for men, it's the same for male heavyweight.
Right.
It's the same argument in theory, right? The men's heavyweight's been around clearly a lot longer. That's how it started.
Sure.
But the talent is underdeveloped because people who are supremely athletic that weigh a lot or are big are in football and they're in basketball, right? They're going to sports where you can make
baseball
30 times the amount of money, right, for being very large and athletic.
Right.
So if that were to change, like I'm under no illusion that if the UFC, for some ungodly reason, was able to pay fighters just you're a top 15 guy, you get a minimum of $1 million per fight. You know what I mean? Like if you have that kind of money to put into it, all of a sudden, LeBron growing up doesn't go into basketball.
Well, not necessarily, but
LeBron when he's 12, he joins a jiu-jitsu gym, right?
Possibly, right.
And I'm not, obviously, I'm being a bit dramatic, but like those types of guys, before they ever get sucked in to those other sports, they're considering this to be legitimate. And also with heavyweight boxing, you do have a lot of supreme athletes that have been in boxing because there's a lot more money there.
Yeah. Well, I mean, at the top there is. I guess overall throughout history.
But even throughout history, like it was a lot with boxing. It was a lot more equal.
Sure.
It wasn't like back in when Muhammad Ali was fighting that he would have made a bunch more money had he been playing basketball. I think
that's true.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So if there was that giant chasm there, right, going back to then, if there was this massive chasm between basketball and boxing, a guy like Muhammad Ali may have not been into boxing, right? He may have very well gone into a different sport and used the kind of finesse that he had to fucking, knock people's legs out from under them on a basketball court.
I mean, possibly, yeah. Possibly. Hard.
Again, this is all just kind of a theory, but so until the UFC starts paying fighters more, and we're talking a lot more, which I don't think they'll ever even be able to get to, but until they're able to legitimately pay people what something like the NFL is able to pay someone, you're not going to get that larger talent over.
So let me ask you this then. This is an interesting question. Say I'm Dana White. And I give you a new job, okay? Here's your job, Kyle. Heavyweight is full of shitbirds and has been for a long time. We want new talent. We want new young talent. We got the fucking UFC PI in China. We got one in fucking Vegas. Tons of trainers and coaches. We need young, big, athletic men. What's your plan? How do you go? What do you do to start getting and recruiting guys?
I would get UFC banners, sponsorships on as many high school scoreboards as possible. And I would really start the guys who are playing basketball, 11th and 12th graders who are playing basketball or playing football, who are good but aren't going to make it to that next step.
Yeah.
And to try to start worming into their brains, hey, there's this other option, and start heading that direction.
It's actually, me and you rarely kind of agree on this show. I was going to go after you, and that's exactly what I was going to say.
Yeah.
Not everybody's going to be LeBron, but also you don't have to have LeBron's athletics to be a bad motherfucker. You know how many guys in the NBA are just a cunt hair under LeBron, athletically speaking, so they can't actually play basketball with him, but they could still jump over this fucking house and fucking kick a tree down. Like, 100%. There's a lot of those dudes. A lot of guys that are never going to be quite that guy in the NBA.
Did you see that? There was this running back. And I just remember him because he was a white dude, and it was just crazy to watch him do it. And I can't remember for the life of me. This would have been back in like 2011. I know he never made it to the NFL. But he has this crazy sizzle reel where he's just like
smashing through
leaping
people.
over two people at a time and then planting and then spinning. And he just had this crazy fucking sizzle reel of all these things that he had done, and never even made it to the NFL.
Look at Greg Hardy and Brendan Schaub. I mean, we can think of a bunch of guys who basically walked into the UFC after just not being able to quite cut it in the NFL. You know what I mean? And again, imagine the guys in basketball. And the interesting thing is, the men coming from the NFL would be quite suited for probably a different sort of fighting style than the men coming from the NBA. They would both be heavyweights, but you're talking about guys who would probably be a little bit taller and leaner coming out of the NBA, maybe a little faster twitch muscles, maybe a bit more Muay Thai kickboxing. And then the guys, the fullbacks and the running backs and the sort of
give
guys.
Give them a wrestling base and just.
Give them a wrestling base and run right with it. Yeah, exactly.
That's a guy like Curtis Blades, right? When I think of Curtis Blades, I think of a guy that had a different mindset growing up, right, and hadn't gone the wrestling route. And I think he probably did play football. There's probably no chance he didn't.
He's like a tight end, right?
But that's a guy who probably, had he really, really, really honed skills, could have very well been like a low to moderate level, like college football player.
Sure.
Yeah,
at least in college. Decent.
So those are the guys that I think you need to start going after.
Yeah, I agree.
Is start getting those, and even going into colleges and like really pushing the UFC, pushing your performance center, whatever the hell that performance institute.
Yeah, the PI. Performance Institute, yes.
Really start pushing that on these like college football players who they know they're not making it to the next step. Right. They know that.
You're not getting to the
and if you can start getting them over and getting them into like, let's get you into a
at
fucking
19, 18.
Yeah, let's
17.
let's get you into boxing, because then by the time you're 25,
you're an animal.
You can probably compete.
Sure.
in the UFC heavyweight.
Maybe
division.
even 3 years. I mean, obviously, a lot of these guys, it's like, but that's the thing too, man. It's a fine line between technique and athletic gifts. You know, imagine the guys that Greg Hardy's probably knocked out, that have been training their whole life, but the dude's fucking fast and strong. And at the end of the day, you know, if you got those sort of athletics and you got the right, fucking Trevor Whitman, Faraz Zahabi or somebody like that, bro, they could probably teach you how to throw a fucking mean 1-2 in about 6 months.
Because, Fred, I don't think we're going to get any credit, so I'm just going to give ourselves credit. This is one of the better conversations we've had.
Yeah, it's not bad.
We have
more serious.
Listen, we've talked a bunch of shit, but we've backed it up and we've supported it with what we think would need to change to make it better. Like, that's what you're supposed to do, right?
Yeah,
we don't just talk shit on
take
here.
It seriously.
Even if you go back and I think listen to some of our stuff, we don't just shit on everything.
Oh no.
Like, we tried to offer some type of solution to shit.
And to be fair,
I appreciate it.
Not that I should have to say this, but I guess in this day and age you do. Also, realize this, cocksuckers. I'm fucking joking. I love you all. I don't hate people. I'm a fucking stoner hippie. Like, I talk a bunch of yin yang, but at the end of the day, I respect all the fighters. I watch every fucking fight, even the fucking stupid, boring ones. Like, I'm there, bro. Like, this is all jokes for the fucking most part. So, do not take any of this shit too fucking seriously.
And if anyone else has anything you suggest, feel free. I'm all ears and how we, or if you just disagree and think that the heavyweight division is where you think it's supposed to be.
Okay.
I don't know how you could argue that, but you can try it.
So now let's make this conversation a little bit more complicated. What would you do with the women? What is the
time?
Well, okay, fair enough. I know that, but like, say, what could we do? Is there anything that you can do to kind of help it along, or is it just time? You just have to have more women train martial arts and just slowly wait.
I think it's literally just time. And here's the thing: where
would you look for women talent then? Like if you were the scout, like would you look in women's judo? Would you be looking for? Would there be a sporting angle to that? Like maybe fucking broads that are in gymnastics or some shit like that, or
no? I would say there's more and more representation is important.
Okay.
A lot of people gloss over that conversation. When you see a
person that looks like you,
well, going the race angle. When you see a black man be successful, when you see a black man as president, there are people, legitimately, kids that are in underserved communities, who never even would have dreamed that was even it never even entered their mind that they could be president.
Absolutely.
Until they saw a black man do it, and they went, "Oh shit, I can do that? I didn't even know." You know what I mean? Yeah. Representation is important. When you see people that look like you, sound like you, have your story, have your background, or from your community, when you see those people successful, the amount of people that LeBron James hit as he was going up, that they saw him and went, "Oh shit, I can do." He has the same story as me.
Right,
you know?
right.
He's from some shitty community in some shitty area, and look at where he is now. Representation is so important. So for women, it's literally just time. The more women that we can put up on as big of a fucking pedestal as we possibly can to show other little girls and young women that, hey, you can do this too.
Right.
Look, right? Then that's all that we need. So more and more high schools are now having women's wrestling, right?
True,
that's becoming a thing.
Women combat sports.
It's moving up, and we have an entire fucking promotion that is just women.
Right.
Think of how crazy that would have been 20 years ago.
Yeah.
I mean, that would have been insane.
And you know what?
But if it happened 20 years ago, women's MMA would look a lot fucking different.
Very
right?
true. Very
so
true.
I think it's just time.
And you're right. Absolutely, time is a big one. But I think you're absolutely right, though, about the representation thing, too. And I'm going to even take it a little further and talk a little bit of my shit and piss some people off because that's what I do. But you're right. And I tell you what, I think that Angela Hill headlining that UFC show and putting on such a good fight, even though she lost, putting up such a good fight with Michelle Watterson, I think that very well might have been a turning point. We don't know it yet.
It could be. I wish the sport was bigger, so it got to more little black girls.
I think it might have gotten to more than we think, though. That's what I think. The representation thing is big. I think, and let me tell you something right now, and this is just a fucking prediction, but y'all kiss my fucking ass. Let me tell you something. When black girls start training motherfucking MMA and black girls start getting into the sport, a lot of you white hoes will be getting that ass whooped. A lot of you Brazilian hoes, like I'm telling you, look, I don't make the fucking rules. Again, this might be kind of controversial, but again, I don't make the rules. It ain't no fucking coincidence that most of the NFL and the NBA are black.
Yeah.
I mean, there's something there. There's something to be said about athleticism. You take it however the fuck you want to take it. When's the last time you seen a motherfucking white running back in the fucking NFL?
Yeah, Daniel Tosh has this whole joke about representation in like gymnastics where, America, one of the reasons why you have so many problems is that it's extremely diverse. And then he starts talking about the women's gymnastics, and then he talks about, he goes, have you seen China's gymnastics team?
Yeah.
He goes, you know who's on that team?
Chinese.
Bunch of Chinese people.
Yeah.
He goes,
limited.
He goes, and then they wonder why they aren't winning. And then the punchline of the joke is, like, they're wondering why they aren't winning. He's like, well, you better go to Harlem in China.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, I'm there. Like, it's a joke.
Right.
But it's like, it's true.
It's
like,
kind of true.
There's a reason why those sports are dominated by black athletes.
Right.
There is and I don't know why we can't say this.
Right.
It's like it feels like we're not supposed to say it, but like I don't know why.
What do you want from me? It's the fucking truth. Like I said, I didn't make fucking rules for the NBA and the NFL. It's what it is.
I have grown up idealizing, sports figures, and most of those fucking sports figures are black men.
Yeah, it's just a fact.
I mean, that's just that is the
like even we are going way off on the race angle, but fuck it, it's true. Think about it. How long was there no black quarterbacks in the NFL? And then all of a sudden, Michael Vick was like, watch this, y'all. And now they're all black. Yeah. I don't even watch the NFL no more, but like most quarterbacks are black and can run now. Like,
well, the thing is, it's going to, and here's the thing, you're just seeing the tip of the iceberg.
Well, sure.
I think
give it 10 years.
I think you fast for another 10 years.
There ain't gonna be a Peyton Manning.
Yeah, I don't think there's any white quarterbacks left. No. I think it's just we're done.
There'll be a Peyton Manning, except he'll be black and he'll be able to run fast as fuck.
Listen, Fred, you and I are white. We had our fun. We had our fun. We were able to go, you know what? Yeah, it's almost all black people in football, but us white people, we got quarterbacks.
Listen.
Well, guess what? That shit's done. It's done.
It is what it is. What the fuck?
So I agree with you. I think you will see that
over time.
Yeah, over time. I think you will see
as more black women get into MMA. And quite frankly, if we're just keeping it a bean, as MMA in general starts sifting into the black community, we're already seeing it in the Mexican community. A lot of Mexican folks are trying. I mean, we had a female Mexican fighter headline a UFC event last night. There's a Vincent now,
granted, she didn't do as well as we're hoping. As much as I was hoping.
We're getting the ball rolling here. But the point is, you're talking about a whole group of people that traditionally boxed. They didn't wrestle. They didn't do jiu-jitsu. And I think that's what's going on in the black community right now. A lot, you go to the motherfucking south side of Chicago, dog. Ain't nobody rolling around and doing jiu-jitsu. Not yet. But as John Jones and Israel Adesanya and Kamaru Usman and, all these black fighters, especially like Izzy, just to be a little fair, kind of speaking out on these social let me tell you something, Jack. If MMA gets a motherfucking Muhammad Ali, and I don't mean his talent, I mean his mouth. If MMA, God damn, I'm fucking going crazy with the racist shit. But real talk, if MMA gets a Kimbo Slice that can fight, God rest his soul, it's over. You're going to have a lot of young black dudes that are like, wait a minute, motherfucker, I could probably wrestle and shit. Like, I didn't know what a jiu-jitsu was. Well, you tell me you could choke a motherfucker out on your back with your legs? And that's real talk. There's a lot of black dudes that are probably athletic as fuck that would probably be fucking beasts at jiu-jitsu who have never heard that word. They've never been like, your hands ain't that great. If you grab a motherfucker, you could throw them on the ground and you could demolish them in a million different ways, right? Like, there are dudes out there that have no idea
it hasn't permeated the culture.
Exactly.
But it will.
Exactly.
That's where we're going. So I think it's just time. I think time
fair enough.
And you just
and exposure to certain women. I mean, Ronda Rousey kind of started. A lot of the talent that we have now, to be fair, is probably little girls watching Ronda and being like, there's a bunch of girls in judo class right now, you know what I mean, that watched her fight, and we're going to see them compete in the years to come. So, all right, fair enough.
Another side note with Chael, because we'll get to Carlos Condit. So,
okay.
Another side note with Chael, he goes in that same little clip. I was watching a clip yesterday, and in that same little clip, he was on like ESPN, and they were asking him. The question she posed was, "You haven't fought at 205 in like 5 years or something," and he interrupted her, and he goes, "You mean I've been undefeated at 205 for the last 5 years?" I was like, fucking Chael.
He's the GOAT, man. We're not even going to realize how great he is until he's gone. Like,
right? Fucking Chael.
He was a complete sport changer, man. He really was.
So Carlos Condit got his first win in the last 5 years.
Yep.
And a very good fight. Mm-hmm. I mean, listen, it's not a top tier competition or anything here, but he got a win, and it was a good win. It was a very fun fight. Do you think he said afterward, "I got some fire left in my belly," right? Mm-hmm. Do you think that he can put on any type of meaningful run here at all?
Well, I tell you what, I don't think you're on Twitter like that, but there's already a little bit of smoke and mouth going on, jawing going on between him and Matt Brown. Matt Brown, I think Carlos mentioned Matt's name. Matt Brown respectfully said, "That sounds fucking amazing. As soon as I get healed, I think me and Carlos Condit need to fight. For all of me, you betcha."
Yep.
Line that. I mean, Matt Brown ain't no pushover for no. So we'll find out. Line that fight up, and we'll find out what Carlos is doing. Like Court McGee's, and to be fair, Court McGee's not like. All due respect, he's no Diego Sanchez, but a bit long in the tooth, and never was quite that guy. Matt Brown was kind of that dude for a while, and he's not quite that long in the tooth. That's
he's still, whenever he's fought, he's still
dangerous guy. Yeah. But not like top 5. It's not necessarily throwing fucking Carlos to the wolves yet either. So that sounds like a great fight. Line that fight up, and if he can actually just not get destroyed by Matt Brown. Then yeah, maybe he does go.
I'm all on board for that.
If God forbid he beats him, if he destroys Matt Brown, then we will be having a real different conversation.
There's really nothing else. I mean, do you want to talk about Jermaine Durandamine here?
Sure. So
she just fought Nunes.
Hold on. So sorry.
Yeah, please.
Okay, I have to get this out of the way with GDR, because after seeing her pull off that submission, boy, was it not the worst decision in the world to not just fight Cyborg? Holy shit, you might have beat her. I mean, you've looked pretty fucking good in every fight other than that, and that just put such a shit stain on. Bro, you should have just fought Cyborg, dog.
I cannot and will not take her seriously because of that.
Yeah, I know.
Period.
I know. I mean, a lot of people
I don't care.
Boat.
And I've got into arguments where I'm dead fucking wrong, and I do not care. I do not care. I will not take her seriously because I don't care what the fuck she does.
Right.
You out there beat Nunes.
Right.
Congratulations.
Right.
Blind squirrel finds a nut.
Right.
I will not take her serious.
Yeah, man.
I won't take her serious.
I feel like.
So it is what it is. All she had to do was not. Now I'm getting in the fucking weeds because I'm not trying to fucking rehash all this shit. But it's like her fucking hand. Is that what it was? She broke her hand?
No.
That's why she had to, and then she had too much pressure from the UFC, so she just gave it up.
Well, no. With Cyborg, she flat said that she's a cheater. I'm not going to fight her because I think she's on steroids. If I'm not mistaken, she flat said, like, I think she's cheating, so I'm not going to do that. I'm not fighting.
This is your line, Fred. I don't think I've ever even said it on this podcast, to be honest with you, because it's your line, so I let you fucking have it. But I'm going to say it. Suck my dick.
Yeah, no, I know.
Just get the fuck out of here.
I know. Well, that's why I was like, dude, it's going to be so hard.
At least Mark Hunt fought fucking Brock.
Well, yeah.
And then complained after.
Yeah, right.
Like,
at least fight him, and then you got
at least fucking fight. And if you lose, be like, she was fucking.
You got to build an excuse, right?
Dude.
Like, don't not. You were. I feel so. I never want to say that somebody was scared. And like all joking aside, I have a hard time.
What else do you call it?
But right, I don't think she was afraid of like getting beat up by her. But I just think that she thought that she would lose that fight, and she didn't want to risk that part of her career getting.
Listen, I'll go even further.
She was afraid to catch.
No. I'll go even further with somebody else. I'm gonna talk about not your hero. But fucking everybody else's hero that listens to this podcast, I'll go on your fucking hero too. Demetrius Johnson, not fighting TJ Dillashaw. I think it was the same goddamn thing.
Well, it's not the same.
I think,
but
he knew.
That was the one.
He knew. He's like, I'm not trying to lose. I'm not trying to lose.
He had to move up to take that fight and stuff, so that's a little bit more.
TJ said he would go down. And then he said he wouldn't take it because he didn't think TJ would make weight. And guess what TJ did when he went down to 125? What'd he do? What'd he do? Acquire? What did he do? He fucking made the weight.
Yeah. Kyle, to be honest, so this is a show of first here. I don't normally
You agree with me again?
I don't just normally concede that you're fucking right, but you got a point. He did offer to come down to 125, and I don't really got a fucking rebuttal for that.
Yeah.
I mean, he did say, I'll meet you down there, and DJ was like, no, you don't deserve it.
The argument was...
You probably won't make the weight.
The argument was he was trying to go for a title defense record, and if he didn't... And if TJ didn't make weight, then it would put a stain on that record. So that was what all the fans said, and I think that was Demetrius' argument as well.
That's bullshit.
Can I say it one more time?
Yeah.
Can I say it one more time?
Oh, yeah.
Suck my dick.
Yeah, that's not...
He didn't want to fight him.
Yeah.
So...
Yeah. Okay, fair enough.
So I think that... For me, GDR just will have that stain forever. I don't think it's ever going to go away. If she legitimately... I'm going to steal another phrase. All bullshit aside, right? if she legitimately beat like Amanda Nunes, all right, fine.
Sure.
All right, cool. You know what I mean? And she put up a good performance against Nunes when she fought her. But,
right.
But I don't know. That don't mean anything to me.
It's not nobody. This ain't the sport for second place medal.
Yeah, it's not horseshoes. It's not horseshoes.
Yeah,
exactly.
You gotta get
sorry,
you lost.
Yeah.
And so she exposed her and shit. Did you see that shit?
Jesus Christ!
Shut the fuck up, GDR.
Get out of here.
But okay. To be fair, though, congratulations on that win.
Hey, so
you did pull off a guillotine. You're a fucking Muay Thai striker. I mean, you look good again. Should have took the fight, dude.
So wrap that up, right? We'll come back to that.
Okay.
Let's talk about Holly Holm.
Okay.
Holly Holm not only beats her, but beats her that much more emphatically.
Sure,
I mean, it was just not even a close fight, right? Just beats her. And Aldana had been coming up. Now, granted, Aldana would not be in that position had she not knocked someone out.
That fight was the worst case scenario, though. You know what I mean? You know why that fight was the worst case scenario? Because nothing happened that we needed to happen.
Yeah.
Right? Holly Holm wins, which, like all y'all, I wouldn't be. You know why Holly Holm winning is a problem? Because of the way she won. And I know, oh God, I know for all you little fucking hardcore shitbirds, she dominated. She dominated. I don't give a fuck, man. If you dominate that much, I need to see you kill that motherfucker, all right? If Holly Holm would have come out and put one of those fucking trademark head kicks right upside fucking Aldana's head, left her on the fucking canvas, stiff as a board, this conversation is at least a little more sellable. The fact that she cruised, what the fuck? She did the same horse shit.
I'll say this.
A few fucking jabs, the side kick, circle to the right. I mean,
I'm normally the person that says when you dominate someone, I'm usually on the other side of you.
Sure.
I'm cool with it. You dominated the person.
I want the fucking
Jake
finish.
Matthews, Diego Sanchez.
Right.
I got no problem with Jake Matthews' performance whatsoever. Yeah, and I understand where you are, and I don't even really disagree. I'm just on the other side of it.
Sure.
You did what you fucking needed to do. You had a 10-8 round in there too. Fuck it. What else? What else can we expect from you at that point, right? So I'm cool with that. So Holly Holm, I'm cool with the performance. She dominated.
Right.
She was never in any type of trouble.
Right.
Okay, cool. Got it. Great performance. Had she not fought 17 times for titles,
right,
then I wouldn't. I'd be like, cool, fight for the title now. You earned it. You earned it off that performance.
Right.
But given the fact that she's fucking fought that many times for titles, I'm so goddamn tired of seeing it. You didn't earn it off that performance. Maybe had you fucking flashed her in round 1 or round 2, maybe I'm having a different conversation.
Right.
But at this point, you got to fight GDR again because you've lost to her.
Right.
So you got to fight her again.
Yeah.
Now they didn't fight a second time, correct?
I don't think so.
I don't think so. But let me just double check. I don't want to be talking out my ass.
I don't even know,
I talk out my ass enough. I don't need to do it anymore.
Did they fight at 45 or 35?
They fought at 45.
Okay, so let them fight at 35.
So let them fight at 35. That's kind of where I'm at as well.
Yeah. That I mean, that's at least one decent fight.
Let them fight at 35. They never fight a fight again. That was the one where GDR hit her after the bell, right? Twice.
Right.
So cool. Have them fight at 35. If you win again, Holly, I guess fucking fine. You can fight for the title, but neither one of those people deserve to fight for the title off that performance.
Right.
And like, I don't know. They have to fight next.
Well,
There's
yeah.
no way they can't fight next.
The performance and what you do is so important, though. If GDR did not have that disgusting shit stain on her record, we'd be real high on her puss right now because of what she did.
Correct.
Being the striker, getting the submission over the grappler.
And
that
then,
was impressive.
It was. And then in your fight with Nunes, you didn't get steamrolled.
So, for instance, if Holly Holm would have came out and pieced the shit, like outboxed the boxer, came out, and then at the end of the round, she gives her the fucking the what's the little prick's name? Cody Garbrandt. The one punch fucking knockout that he hit homeboy with. If she ends the first round after boxing her up like that, you know, right now we're in a sport where we got fucking guys like Hamzat Chimaev fucking one punching people and doing these. You need something a little impressive, man, if you're going to really get the sport talk. Yeah, that was a dominant win, but I mean, at the end of the day, who gives a fuck?
Yeah, no one's talking about it.
Yeah, like nobody cares. There's too much other. I mean, on this card alone, you had some pretty impressive things going on. Again, GDR, if she didn't have her horrible stain, she fucking submitted a fucking grappler. She's fucking, that was super fucking impressive. Holly, you need to do some shit like that. If Holly would have armbarred her, you know what I mean, or fucking pulled off a flying go-go or some shit, maybe it'd be a little different. But that sort of workman-like performance that she always kind of puts on is just, I don't know. It left me wanting.
Yeah.
You know, so her and GDR is a really good fight, though, at 35. And, I mean, the problem is, I guess, that's a good fight. That's about all we got, too.
Yeah.
Let them hoes fight to see who fights Amanda after fucking Megan, I guess. Is that who she's fighting next?
God, probably. That's. I mean, I'm with you. I guess I am getting to a point where I'm not even excited to see Nunes just because there's just nothing there.
Well, right.
And I hate that because it's not fair. Like, if you're fighting everybody that has earned the spot to fight you and you're beating the fuck out of them, like, what are you going to do? Like,
but you know what, though? I don't know. You know what you do?
There's not even another division for. It's different with John, where he's dominating and you have this other thing that you can do. There's nothing else Amanda can do.
I will say, when you're at Amanda Nunes's, if I'm Amanda Nunes, if I'm her manager, maybe I try to go box Clarissa Shields in boxing. I start asking for. You know what made Conor interesting, man? Is he wouldn't do this shit. Now I know a lot of people say he never defended his belt, and that's obviously true. But one thing that did make him extremely compelling is he was always trying to outdo himself. What's the bigger fight now? Like, you're right. There is no big fight for Amanda Nunes. If I'm Amanda Nunes, I'm on fucking Twitter right now saying, feed me Cyborg or let me go box Clarissa Shields, because none of the rest of you hoes are on my level.
She's not that personality type.
I know,
so
but it's just like, if I'm the manager, get in your Conor McGregor bag, man. Like, talk some shit. Like, don't just, now you're going to fight Megan Anderson. And you know what the problem with this fight is? You could fucking come out and 720 spin kick Megan, and we'd all be like, well, Amanda Nunes is the GOAT, and Megan Anderson has lost to Holly Holm, for fuck's sake. Or did she lose to Holly? I think she did, didn't she? Yeah. So no matter what Amanda Nunes does to Megan Anderson, it's not going to be impressive enough. But here's the real problem with that fight for Amanda. God forbid Megan is even slightly competitive. Amanda's going to look bad. It's that John Jones syndrome. You know what I mean? Thiago Silva and fucking Dominic Reyes actually have a competitive fight with John Jones, and everybody swears up and down that Dominic beat him because it was competitive. You know what I mean? Like, this is a no-win fight for Amanda Nunes. There's nothing she can do to look impressive here. If I'm her, fuck that. I'm not taking these no fucking wins. Go out and get me something or somebody that I can get up for, that the crowd can get up for. I mean, don't get me wrong. I realize I'm talking shit here. She's got to defend her belt. It is what it is. But you know what? Maybe not.
Again,
maybe you could be that sort of.
I just give her a pass because the only thing that she could have done was, you got to fight Cyborg at 45, and she did that, and she fucking blasted through her.
Right.
And then she's defended at 145 and then continued to go at 135. There's no division at 145. So maybe if I'm her, something that's maybe more realistic is putting the pressure on the UFC to actually make a 45 division.
You know what I would do? I think if I was Amanda Nunes, and I'm going all around the board here, but maybe I would be like, check this out. Here's y'all's belts. Take these shits. Take the 45 belt, take the 35 belt. I just had a kid, all right? I'm going to go have some fun with my wife and my kid. When y'all figure out some hoe that can challenge me, y'all let me know, and I'll come back and I'll beat that bitch up too. But for now, I'm not interested. Fuck off. I'm going to go chill. Y'all figure it out. Run a, pull a yawn. Give my belt to somebody else. None of these girls are on my level. Y'all find a challenger for me, and I'll come back and I'll beat the fuck out of whoever y'all find. But for now, I'm over it.
Well, and then she can loom over the division, kind of like Conor loomed over 45 for a while.
Exactly, that's what I mean. Having all intentions of coming back,
but he did for a while.
Kind of give the sport a little injection. Like, what do we really? I realize she needs money instead, but at the end of the day, I feel like if she did that, you know how much more intrigued we would be in Amanda Nunes if she did that. If she gave up both of her belts because she feels like women's MMA just ain't on her level right now. Call me and wake me up when September's over. Like, this is trash. Y'all are all trash. I'm not. What am I going to do now? Fight GDR or Holly Holm again? I don't want to. I've beat y'all up. I'm over it. Like, y'all figure it out. You guys go, like, the UFC, you say this is the proving ground. Well, you guys go out and find a woman that can, who was that was saying that? I think it was Justin Gaethje that there for a while was saying he's that's what he wants. He wants to find the man that can beat him up. He wants to find the man that can alpha him. That's what he's looking for in there. He's dying to find the man that can one up him. I feel like Amanda Nunes should kind of take that, y'all go out there and you find a woman that can compete with me, because as of yet, y'all have not been able to. Like, I'm just running through these girls. Take these belts and fuck off. Y'all let me know when you have a real challenger for me, and I'll come back. And at that point, it ain't even about the belts. You know what I mean? You don't need them. Whenever you come back, you're going to fight for the belt. You're going to get pay-per-view points, and you're going to be that much more fucking interesting because you've done something like this.
Let's wrap up by finishing up what we did last week with the rankings. We were talking about who are the must-see people. We stopped at men's welterweight. We did men's welterweight, so let's do lightweight all the way down to flyweight.
Okay.
Of who the must-see people are per division.
Okay.
So we'll wrap up the show like this.
Again, must-see is very, very stringent. So not just because you're an exciting fighter, don't mean you get a must-see.
So obviously Khabib.
Yeah, for sure. Absolute must-see.
Obviously Conor if he fights.
For sure.
Would you say Tony Ferguson and Gaethje are there as well?
Yeah. Yep. Both of them are must-see at this point.
Okay. So then the only other people that are in between there, you got Dustin Poirier.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm going to give Dustin Poirier. I mean, I can't think of a bad fight, and he's been relevant. Yeah, Dustin Poirier is must-see TV, too.
Dan Hooker?
No, not for me. Not yet.
Charles Oliveira?
Nope.
Paul Felder?
Nope.
Okay, then now we're getting Kevin Lee and
again,
Gillespie, who just lost.
All
Cerrone?
Talented, exciting. No, not for me. Not no more. Not no more. All very talented, exciting fighters, but not must-see. I got to cancel everything to watch these guys fight. No.
Featherweight, Volkanovski?
I mean, he's the champion.
Yep.
To be fair, if I'm keeping it a buck, though, for me personally, if he wasn't holding the strap, no. I know he's tough, but, hey, man, everybody's got their thing. He hasn't exactly tickled my pickle yet. We'll see.
Max Holloway?
Well, I guess I did just figure out and answer my own question. I think the reason I don't like him is because I don't think he beat Max Holloway twice. So he's not really my fucking hashtag not my champ. So, yes, Max is still must-see TV for Daddy Fred.
Brian Ortega?
You know what? Yes. I know a lot of people don't like Brian, but the fact that he smacked the little Korean dude's translator and he's half a gangster and he's got the long hair and he's gorgeous like a broad.
What about the Korean Zombie?
Yep. Yeah, I mean, that fight is just quick side note, but one of the fights that I'm more excited about for the rest of the year.
Magomed Sharapov?
Nah.
Yair?
Yep.
Calvin Kattar?
Good one. Not quite. Real fucking close, though, man. Real fucking close.
Josh Emmett?
Nah.
Jeremy Stevens?
Yeah, it used to be.
Arnold Allen, Shane Burgos, Dan Ige.
Yeah, pretty much you get Bass 7, 8, 9, no.
Listen, you already know, though, at number 13 we got Ryan Hall. Must-see TV for me, baby.
Kind of, man.
Must-see TV for me, baby.
You know, it's weird how, like, certain... I guess that's why I mentioned...
Oh, and then also at 15 is Bryce Mitchell. That dude's must-see. Mm-hmm. He is the best prospect that we have right now.
Well, you know what? I don't even know if he's the best prospect. I think sometimes he's the most interesting. You know what I mean? Like, sometimes that shit is really important.
I just don't understand what is going on there. So... Like, you might see him come out again against one of these guys in the top 15, and you're like, well, how the fuck is this guy doing this?
Right.
So, I mean, he's just such an exciting, like, there's so much intrigue there.
Yeah, little things make people very interesting, though. It's kind of surprising, the little things that make them intriguing.
At 35, you got Peter Yan.
Again, he's kind of in that Volkanovski book for me, although I know he beat the fuck out of Jose. But yes, because he's the champion, but I don't know. He's not that intriguing to me just yet. I know he's a great fighter, but I'm still waiting to see that story get wrote.
Muller Moraes? No.
No.
Sterling? No.
Yeah, Sterling is a yes for me. Aljamain's a yes for me. I think he's a
You
future
think he's a
champ.
must-see guy?
I do. I like Aljo.
Cody Garbrandt,
Cody's must-see for me, for sure.
Corey Sandhagen.
Cocksucker. Nah. Right there, though. I really... We'll see what happens. If he fucking wins this next fight impressively, he might break that. I'm very intrigued by him, but I guess I wouldn't say must-see, no.
You got Frankie Edgar, Pedro Munoz, Jose Aldo, Jimmy Rivera, Sun Sao, Dominic Cruz.
Dominic Cruz is, I guess.
Still must-see?
Yeah. I'm still very curious every time he steps into the cage what exactly... he might still have a championship run in him, and he might be completely fucked.
Devison at flyweight.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah, I think he's the best guy
He's
there
actually
for sure.
completely rejuvenated. Well, I wouldn't say completely rejuvenated the division, but he's at least given these title fights some meaning.
I would like to see Henry Cejudo fight him.
Yeah, I would too. Exactly, absolutely.
Joseph Benavidez, Brandon Moreno, Askar Askarov, Alex Perez, Pantoja. I know you love Formiga. That new guy on the scene, Brandon Roval. That'll be interesting to see where he goes.
I think
that shows you how weak the division is, though.
Yeah,
the guy makes what? Did he make his debut, or is it his second fight?
I think it was like a second fight, but yeah,
at number 7 now. It's like fuck, man. Yeah, that's a weak division.
That division in general is a little fucked,
and that's it. So I think
that's flyweight. Yep.
Yeah, I mean, I don't. We'd have to go back and listen to get our actual must-sees.
The must-sees.
I think we were a little bit more liberal with the must-sees than I intended to, but
still maybe 2 to 3 a division
in the entire. So let me go down like what the UFC's pound for pound list is for men, and just tell me any of these people besides John and Connor. I'm not even going to say John and Connor's name because it's obvious.
Well, right.
So give me anybody that you think can reach John or Connor status
from the pound for pound list.
Yes.
Okay.
So Khabib.
Yeah, he could. I mean, look,
he's already close.
It depends on Khabib. For me, with Khabib, the big conversation is how long is he going to fight? If Khabib fights one more fight,
he needs to fight more often, and needs to. Yeah.
I mean, yeah. In order to have a serious conversation about Khabib being in the same stratosphere as John Jones, accomplishment-wise, he needs at least 3 to 4 more fights. And probably, look, if John Jones fights a heavyweight and gets a win up there, I mean, you can forget about it unless Khabib goes and fights at welter. I mean, it's kind of a long stretch. Khabib's right there, and he could be, but if he only fights one more time, no, he's just not going to make it.
Then you have Adesanya, who I think we both agree can be there.
I mean, yeah, the sky's the literal limit for that kid.
What about Stipe? Do you think he's ever going to just have some type of
I hate to be
legendary?
No, maybe he'll be the one, right? Maybe that's why. But I just, for some reason, he seems like I think he loses to Ngannou. I hate to say that too, being an Ohio boy, but I feel like Stipe is probably going to be the first one to lose.
And then, they obviously fought each other, and it didn't go well for Ngannou. But I just feel like now it's going to be a different. I don't know. The Ngannou rematch makes me a little nervous.
Yeah, we are putting a lot of faith in Ngannou's first round knockouts, though. We do. Ngannou is a lot of things. He's polarizing. He's intimidating. He's very strong. Crazy knockout power.
But I will say that is the guy that can reach legendary status.
Sure,
if he can go out there, beat Stipe, and then do it to somebody else, and just continues this tear.
Sure, sure.
Yeah, I mean, he's someone that
he's got the whole package. If he can continue to fucking get his skills right
and get better. Yeah. Usman.
He's another one, man. I don't know.
He's got to keep winning and being able to back up what he's saying.
Yeah.
He's got the talking.
It'll be a long road for him, though, I think, because he is sort of that. He's a really tough guy, but I think Usman very much depends on, look, when Usman fights Burns, don't expect a lot of pay-per-view buys. You understand what I'm saying? It's a great fight, but, he's not really – if he fights Colby, yes, but Usman's kind of that guy that's not selling on his own yet.
If Justin Gaethje beats Khabib, do you think he instantly becomes more popular than Khabib?
I mean, it depends on what you mean. Khabib's popularity is hard for us to understand because he's very popular, in Russia.
I'm talking more popular culture.
Well, yeah.
Connor and John are popular culture icons.
In America.
Someone like Ngannou can become a popular culture icon because of...
I mean, listen, are we just talking about America? In America?
We're talking about pop culture.
Yes. In our bubble, yes. If Gaethje comes out and knocks out the crazy Russian, again, I mean, Russia will still be Khabib's fans and the Muslims will still be on Khabib's side. But, will he be on ESPN and fucking... Kelly and Mike, or you know what I mean,
and be able to like
be that star for
fill an arena of people listening to him talk.
Yeah,
like Conor did.
Right, exactly. He'll never be a Conor because he's just not all that polarizing. But like, he is at least American, speaks good English and shit. So like, if he gets a knockout win over Khabib, I think in our little bubble he'll get bigger.
And I think that's pretty much it at this point. All right. Well, it's interesting. I think if Gaethje can beat Khabib, if Ngannou can continue to hone his skills, and then if there's some ifs, but yeah, if those two, I think they can be kind of pop culture people, and Adesanya just keeps needing to be Adesanya.
Okay,
he's the closest to the top at this point.
Who's got 5 years from now, 5-10 years from now, from what we're looking at right now, in your opinion, who's our GOAT? Does Izzy go on to outshine John? Does John win at heavyweight? Does Ngannou go on the run?
We'll go 5 years.
5 years. Who's that guy?
I'm gonna say, that's a tough one.
I know.
And 5 years, just looking at what we have in front of us.
Right. Exactly what it is now. Who knows how it all plays out? But
I'm gonna say Ngannou.
Okay. I'm torn between John and Izzy, and they might even fight each other. So this is a very weird. Izzy's younger, but
he's just not all that much younger. That's the thing about Adesanya. He's older than we think.
Right. I guess it's less shop worn. I think maybe we are doubting John a little bit because, again, I think I've yet to see John fight somebody that we all thought could beat him and him come out and look human. When John Jones fights somebody that he's not an over-fucking-whelmingly favorite against, he is, think about it. Look back at his career. Machida, Rampage, Rashad, DC, both times. Alexander Gustafsson, the second time.
By the way, Jones is only 2 years older than Adesanya.
Oh wow! But I feel like in shop worn age. But yeah, that is a little surprising. But I don't know. When John fights somebody that he is fucking serious about, and he takes serious, the man don't miss. I mean, you go back and look at his career. Every guy that going into the fight, John was not like an astronomical favorite against, he looks good. To me, that just says that when John Jones takes you seriously and he gets up for a fight and he comes in and he is prepared and ready, you better watch the fuck out. So we'll see what happens at heavyweight. But for me, it's Johnny Bones Jones, man. Nothing like a diet of fucking white girls and white girl, if you know what I mean. So,
all right.
He's the fucking GOAT.
Thank you guys for tuning in, and we will be back next week. Talk soon.